chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do it. Take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob had it. Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless, and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step up to the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro, coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks. He's not in the screen right now, but he'll be in shortly. Jimmy, I took you out the screen. I thought you wanted to be out, but I got you right back in. Coming to you live from Houston, Texas. We're broadcasting live all over the world via Facebook and YouTube Live. Y'all, I thought about something last night, man. I know Jimmy said he was watching the BET Awards over the weekend. I didn't get a chance. I taped a lot of stuff and I went back, but I watched the decision backstory. The decision backstory, in case you didn't know, they had a little backstory on what LeBron James and the behind the scenes things of the decision. But before I go there, I want to shout out to Jessica Brooks, Rod Wells, Derek Johnson, John Newsom, and Rick Wilmore. They were my starting five that popped up on my screen, and it might have been somebody else on my other screen, but on my main screen, and I know Daryl Anderson was a close six, but it seemed like he popped in right behind him. But let me tell you about this decision. It was unique. Let me tell you something. I thought, because I know some people in LeBron camp, and I know the mom, and I know some of the people. And what I did was, it's a lot of stuff that I just didn't, I knew, but they brought it to my remembrance. I didn't realize that so much went in to this decision. I didn't realize that David Stern said emphatically, no, too much power to a player. Don't do it. Leon Rose, Jimmy, LeBron agent at the time, said no. Maverick Carter said, yes, let's do it. Hold up, Jimmy. David Stern said no. Leon Rose, his agent, said no. His dude said, man, let's do it. And they picked this dude named Jim Gray. They picked Jim Gray to do it. Now, Jimmy, the problem was Jim Gray didn't work for ESPN. So all the ESPN was mad. Stuart Scott thought he should have did it. Bob Lee thought he should have did it, Jimmy. Jimmy, I'm telling you, I'm getting all this information. And Jimmy, I found out, then LeBron then went straight to ESPN. They didn't go to no reporter, Jimmy. They skipped over. You know, normally you go to the reporter take it to the network. They skipped over them and talked to the boss. Jimmy, that man said, "Let me tell you something. It's got a chance for 10 million people to watch this." And they said, "Well, LeBron, hold up, man. You want us to donate this time?" He said, "No, yeah." He said, "But look here, look what you're going to get. You're going to get 2 million viewers, and you don't have to give us the money. Donate the money to Greenwich, Connecticut Boys and Girls Club, because LeBron grew up in what? The Boys and Girls Club. So they donated 2 million. Jimmy, I didn't know that Kanye West was there. Kanye West, did you know Kanye West was a part of this party? I never knew that. I thought it was cool. I really thought it was a cool thing they did. I don't know what y'all thought about the decision. Mindy, Kevin Jones, what did y'all think about the decision? Jimmy, a lot of people called it a train wreck in media. This was too much flexing of strength. And LeBron said, I had a conversation with my mom this morning, and I want to go. I'm going to Miami. Jimmy, let me tell you something. It's a reason. And Jimmy, you got to realize it was 5 hours of programming. I haven't looked back. They had 5 hours of programming. Then 1 hour for the decision with Jim Gray, and they did it toward the middle, Jimmy, and I was saying, why? He said, man, always remember, there's a reason the Oscar always have the best picture for last, because they want people to watch the show longer. Jimmy, it got up to 13 million people were watching this decision. If you're just tuning in, I'm talking about the decision LeBron made. And then, you know, he'd say taking his talents to South Beach. That's what, Jimmy, tell me, what's the problem with a guy saying, I'm taking my talents to South Beach? That's what all the guys were mad about. If you want to come in, you can come in, huh?
But the problem with that was, at the time, that's the exact words that Kobe Bryant used when he announced he was going to leave.
Why the media was so mad? Why the media so mad?
That take my talents part really rubbed a lot of people. I'm understanding.
Why?
I mean, you got to ask somebody white why. I'm just telling you, that's one of them relations things. Okay. We don't understand why white people was mad, but white folk was mad. Black folk understood and didn't have no problem with it. That was the cool lingo of that day, of that era, of that time. And Jim Gray, ironically, Jim Gray was a longtime friend of Kobe Bryant. Jim Gray was the guy who got the exclusive interview with Kobe Bryant. Mm-hmm. Okay. When Kobe Bryant, he got the exclusive interview with Kobe Bryant. Mm-hmm. Jim Gray was the Ahmad Rashad, well, not that deep, but a poor man's version of the Ahmad Rashad to Michael Jordan. That's what he was for white media to Kobe Bryant, because there's no white guy getting this circumference like that in the media side. So Jim Gray was a guy. I understand he was no longer part of the interview. I think he did some work for NBC, but not ESPN.
Right.
And so when they got and asked Jim Gray, not asked, it was requested. It was demanded. Yeah. The only way this deal go, he's the only one that could do it. Stuart Scott was the hot hip guy at the time.
And Bob Lee.
I'm talking about for us black guys, for us flavor.
No, but the reason I said Bob Lee, Coach, Jim Gray is not black.
Well, Jimmy, they mentioned Bob Lee.
Check your device, Jimmy, a little bit. It might be me.
Let me see. You guys are getting
down a little bit.
You guys are getting feedback?
A little bit. Okay, I'm good. So now keep going. My bad.
Now, and so during that time, and so that was the thing with LeBron. And understand something. A lot of people really thought that LeBron was the New York Knicks was going to. This was their lotto ticket. And while New York was hurt, Cleveland, the way that LeBron did not initially during this conversation mention that, not thank those people initially. He did not, and he didn't mention those fans and the way he did it, I guess, and they just went crazy. And then the owner, remember now, they took off on their plane, had about, far as I recall, and by the time they got to Miami, the owner had already put his message out.
And Jimmy, let me help you out with the plane. Even on the plane, they wasn't celebrating on the plane. It was kind of somber. They were quiet on the plane. It was tears on the plane. LeBron hate doing that. But you're right. Soon as they landed, they find out. But Jimmy, let me tell our fans some of the stuff that these guys were saying about LeBron. Some of the news media. Some guys say he looks like a narcissistic fool. Some guys say he's a TV's equivalent to waterboarding. Then they said if he had the proper people around him, he would have never allowed this to do this. A 25-year-old make this bad idea. Then awful night in Cleveland, worst night in sports. That's another. And Jimmy, Bill Simmons, the hater who we got to talk about him one day on here on this show. We got to talk about him because he's been in the news lately. He was the one that brought the idea. One of the guys brought the idea up at first, right? Since he didn't have nothing to do with it later, guess what his comments was? One of the guys, he said, I thought it was one of the meanest things an athlete has ever done to a city. And guess what? Your homeboy, Jimmy, your homeboy Woj, he was with Yahoo then. Guess what he said? Go.
What did he say?
What a spectacle. What a spectacle. What a train wreck. What a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? What do all those guys have in common you just named?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But understand something. I try to tell you guys to pay attention and understand. It's not, and this is definitely not anti-white. You guys, I mean, for people, this ain't not by no means. Just because you're pro-black does not make you anti-white. Understand that. Just because you pro your family doesn't mean you anti the next guy's family. Right. So understand that. Some people don't. Let's not get that. Let's not retract our brains into the feeble-mindedness. Now, when people in the media, when a narrative is created by an ally, what a person can do is take that narrative and add some more octane to it by floating it on your particular platform, and it runs. That's what happened at that time. Remember, LeBron, this was what, 2010? 2010.
Yeah.
A decade ago.
Yeah.
And realize this was LeBron, what, 25 years old at the time?
Yeah.
So this young man was still, remember now, he hadn't won a ring yet. So it wasn't, matter of fact, I think they went to the Olympics and got beat in the qualifier, and he was still finding himself. 7 years he gave Cleveland. They went to the finals, couldn't win it. And he made his decision. Like I said, I think that, yes, and I'm looking at Lil Rick said something out on the Facebook. He says that, let's just face it, LeBron was full of crap. He said, I like him, but I call him on the carpet. He said that in that 2010 playoff loss, when Bron tore off that Cavs jersey, he knew that he was done. So him dragging it out in that fake long process. Jimmy.
I don't agree with Lil Rick. Because I thought it was a source of empowerment, a source of independence, and a source of freedom. That's how I look at it. I don't care. See, maybe because it's my point of view, I'm not looking at it from a fan's point of view, but I thought it was empowered. I thought Dan Gilbert's response was petulant and childish, calling LeBron a narcissistic. Hold up. This the owner calling LeBron a narcissistic departure in a cowardly behavior. This Dan Gilbert.
Yeah. Called him a coward.
A cowardly betrayal by, a self-declared former king. Then he said,
what it does, what it does is,
it was all about control. And Rick, you above all people should understand it was because LeBron took these young guys, black guys, took control, got ESPN that said, buy into it. That was the problem, Rick. And guess what? We should be celebrating that because his move, now a lot of players are telling their narrative their own way. The move, LeBron told that story the way Jimmy, Maverick Carter, I didn't know that then, directed that whole thing. Maverick Carter directed that whole thing. And guess what that did to show him, Jimmy? Guess what that showed Maverick? Man, I can do this stuff. Now look at now. $100 million in the surplus to help new projects that people wouldn't green light for black people, that people wouldn't green light in Hollywood. Let me tell you something. Empowerment, Rick. Don't get caught up in please us people. Don't get caught up with what people say about these athletes. He's more than an athlete. He empowered himself. He empowered his friends. It's a certain freedom and a certain independence that these people didn't lack. And I just disagree with you on that one. But I know we got to take a quick break, Jimmy. Jimmy, we're going to take this break and we're going to come back and we can talk about it again. Let me check, find me a good commercial. Oh, I got one for us. Check this out.
As bad as it was a total innovation. The press called it stupid, ill-advised, selfish, conceited, dumb. Worst of all, I felt like I destroyed LeBron's image and totally failed my best friend. Underneath all that criticism, it was very clear that athletes should be empowered. They have something to say and must be heard.
Got another one for us, Jim. Got another one for us. We'll go here.
Over Mirasol.
As bad as it was a total innovation. The press called it stupid, ill-advised, selfish, conceited, dumb. Worst of all, I felt like I destroyed LeBron's image and totally failed my best friend. Underneath all that criticism, it was very clear that athletes should be empowered. They have something to say and must be heard.
Times, Jim, because I just wanted to make sure, and I really agree. You remember, I long time ago, welcome back to the Chop Shop, but I remember, Jimmy, I was talking about a few years back, you know, people were talking about LeBron and Kevin Durant, and I said some key. I said, always remember, I went back in history. I said, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson saved the league. Michael Jordan made it global, and LeBron James made it mobile. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird saved the league. Before they came along, the finals were on tape delay and everything. Michael Jordan came and made it global. Everybody around the world wanted to play. And LeBron made it mobile. And he made it all right for a guy to leave and go and team up. Hold up, not the owners doing it, but hey, man, let's play together. Hey, man, let's play together. And he made it. He just made it. And guess what? Now they following that pattern in the NBA now. And I just think it's a remarkable testament to these young men. And Jimmy, right after that decision that went down, we were talking about the LeBron James decision. Right after that decision, several people got out. That's when they fired Leon Rose, Jimmy, and brought in Rich Paul as his agent. They fired Leon, and then Worldwide West, they relieved his duties as an advisor, right? So what had happened, Maverick Carter took a gamble. If you heard him in the thing, he said so eloquently, man, I thought I hurt my guy's career. But LeBron stuck with him, and look at him now, man. It's just unbelievable testament to these young guys. And if we don't toot their horn, I don't know who would. So what else you got out there?
Well, I mean, at that time, it was a gamble and you had no control. You did not have control of the journalists that were out there. You did not have enough allies on your side to offset the onslaught of criticism after the decision. This is LeBron and his team. They didn't factor it out. That's why I tell people, guys, you everybody that's made it to the top, to the Mount Rushmore of their sport has a person in the media that was right there, that was at the top. I mean, with the heavy ink. I'm not talking about your partner that went to work for the high school paper, but at the top shelf of ink. And so LeBron easily figured it out. But the main thing, as I just wrote and explained earlier, remember the first year in Miami, he made to the championship, lost to the Mavericks. He went to the championship 4 years in a row at Miami, won 2 rings, lost to the Spurs, lost to I mentioned Dallas a while ago. Well, so he went there 4 straight times, won twice. When he won the championship, that was him winning over the decision. Getting to the championship, they still was tearing his butt off the bone. Getting there, you got there in Cleveland. So getting there wasn't the issue. When he won, that's when he defeated. That's why winning is so important to not to everybody. Some of you guys ain't in it to win it. Everybody's not in it to win it. Some people in it to just get paid. Some people in it to make it. Some people in it to other people's wrong. But you got to win it.
But he got through it, Jimmy. Nobody gonna go through this business unscathed. Nobody. Everybody have their ups and downs in this business.
But him winning, and then he was in so much control when he went back to Cleveland. Guess what? He's in control. Dan Gilbert, that wasn't even about him. Remember, when he came back into Cleveland, he was already battling against Dan Gilbert in an election. If you guys don't remember, back in 2016, Dan Gilbert was pumping his resources behind the current president 45, and LeBron was trying not to pump to get everybody to get focused.
Jimmy, let me tell you what that decision did. Okay, that decision, it was no limits to them kids after that decision, because after that decision, it planted seeds so these guys know they can control their narrative. So these guys launched media companies. They got Spring Hill Entertainment. They got the Uninterrupted. They raised $100 million to go to give voice to storytellers that have always been marginalized. He became an executive of his own stories. I don't care nothing about, he ain't got to worry about it. He became an executive. And guess what? Serena Williams came back and did what? Her own story. Tom Brady came back. Tom My Way. Dwayne Wade came back and did his story. All I'm saying is these guys took advantage. What it was is positive reinforcement to me, because these guys took advantage of a ride of people needing content. Guess what? Amazon pops up. Netflix popped up. You make sure one thing to pay attention to, Adam, and I always say, always pay attention. If the author of that document, of that piece that ran on ESPN, if the author of that, LeBron James, from what I understand, did not support him at all. So you went and told about the documentary.
Huh?
We're not talking about them. I know he didn't support him.
I'm saying it so people that don't know. So somebody wrote a story about.
What does that have to do with what I was just saying?
I'm letting people know what is unknown to many who have not seen it. A person just did a story expose on you, and you declined. Your partner, your agent, your all 3 of y'all declined to give him any type of comment.
Can I tell you why? Do you know why? Because he was one of the guys who wrote one of those quotes.
Exactly. That's exactly why. That's one of the reasons why.
Yes.
One of the reasons why, and some of the content for which anybody that he has was not agreed upon, that he used in that. Just like when Michael Jordan, when he did The Last Dance, Michael Jordan had that was part of the stipulation. He had hands-on say-so on what most of the stuff that in the narratives that went through in his stuff. who got interviewed, who didn't.
This is what the guy said about LeBron. He tweeted, ESPN insists it has handed over the network keys to LeBron James. He just picks the time, the slot, the interviewer, and gets all ad money for his charity. That guy wrote that back then, and guess what? LeBron ain't. Of course, I wouldn't give him the time of day. Yeah, I wouldn't give him the time of day.
We almost time for our special guest. We got two guests going to join us today, guys. And sorry to flip. We got to get and first guest is going to be a college coach, okay. Right? And that's he's going to join us. We'll have a hell of a convo with this. But first, I want to insert some good news and let you know that high school football news.
Kyron Drone. Right?
They have something that's called the Elite 11 that's taking place in Nashville, Tennessee, right now. Started yesterday. The Elite 11 is basically for 20 of the nation's top quarterbacks in the country. 20 of the top quarterbacks in the country, they all go to this thing and they go through a bunch of skills and drills and get some tutelage, take some workshops. They've even inserted this year some social justice workshops for these young men. Now, of these 20, 3 are from Houston. 3 of the 20 quarterbacks in the country reside in Houston. That's Demetrius Davis. That's the quarterback from North Shore. Remember, he had committed to Virginia Tech early and then opened it back up. And then and Kyron Drones, who won state with Shadow Creek. He's there. And Maddox Kopp at St. Thomas High School in Houston is there. You know, the cops had a long line of the cops. And they probably can get a documentary within themselves. It would be 4 players from that family with Division I scholarships, 4 boys, and for that family. But Maddox Kopp had on yesterday. Guess what he did? Yesterday was the first day. They had what they called a rail shot competition. Quarterback get the ball and just throwing a post route to some players along the sideline, along the rail. He won that competition last night over all them quarterbacks. Maddox Kopp. Now, Maddox Kopp and Kyron Drones both are basketball stars as well at their respective schools. But this kid, Maddox Kopp, I haven't seen him play football. I've seen him play basketball. He's one of those white kids about 6'4" that talks as much smack as you can allow from a white kid playing against mostly black kids. He's gonna get it. I'm about the good, clean smack. No, he's not, good enough to where you want to fight, but he ain't really done nothing. Talk some good smack. But I want to acknowledge those young men.
Jamie, I want to add something to you because Trent Dilfer was there. Trent Dilfer, former quarterback in the NFL, he was there. I think he won a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins. 48 years old, number 6 pick in the draft. He was talking about guys at the tournament. The guys who caught his eye. His first name he mentioned after the top guy. They got one guy who's supposed to be the best in the country. The other guy that caught his eye was Shadow Creek's Kyron Drones. He talked about, I think this Drone kid is ridiculously talented, Dilfer said. His tape is awesome. His presence is awesome. He was awesome tonight. He's great with the other guys. He kept saying awesome. He said, I can't find a flaw. He's super coachable. We go into a play action drill, and he hasn't done that yet, but he's trying to get better every rep. I said, wow, unbelievable. Trent Dilfer, a pro, came up and talked about Kyron Drones. I'm glad you took the other take, but that's the take that I got from Trent Dilfer. But
that wasn't a take, Al. I just took acknowledge the kid that won that competition. That wasn't a take.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, this from a guy, the pro. I'm just glad I had that information also, though. But it's a break time, Jimmy. If we're going to take a break before
So
we go
now
back to
we're
the guests.
waiting on our special guest, our first of two guests to join us. When we come after this break, we're going to go and get the conversation started with head coach of George Washington, and that's Jamion Christian. And this brother here is one of the up and coming young head coaches in the game. We'll talk to him, and then coming up in the next hour, remember we promised you yesterday, the founder of the only black-owned search firm for college coaches in the country would join us. Back on the Chop Shop.
You're worth it. 3 words we have all heard at least 1,000 times, right? You're worth it. But do you really understand what that means? It's a beautiful reminder to us all that we have worth. You have reason and rarity. There is value in each and every one of us, including you. That is precious even on the days you might not feel it. You never depreciate in value. Those words are there to remind you. So to all those watching who feel like that or have ever felt like that, focus on what I'm about to say and repeat after me. I'm worth it. Okay? Maybe that felt great, or perhaps that felt weird. Let's go again. First, take a deep breath and let it out. Forget the naysayers and silence the critics, even if the harshest words are the ones you say to yourself. Do not doubt yourself, and this time speak it louder, really loud. I'm worth it. And the next time you hesitate before going after something you want, the next time you blush and brush off a compliment, the next time you doubt your place in the world, in the workplace, in your home, or in your own skin, say these words to yourself: I'm worth it. And I know you will always say it like you mean it. I'm worth it. Because you are. And always will be. Got that?
Back, Jim.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. Man, we're at midway past the hour already on the Chop Shop. Make sure, guys, if you're watching right now, we're streaming on multiple platforms. We're on Facebook and YouTube. For all you guys on the YouTube page right now, shout out to you. I see you, Corey Willis, Rodney Wells, Todd Byerly, Frank White, Lil Rick, Martin Vaughn, just name a few of you guys over there. Shout out to all you guys. Give us a thumbs up over there. And for those of you who are watching in the Facebook feed, I see Walter Yates Jr. is joining us on there. John Newsom is up in that house. I see you, Jameson Mara, Derek Johnson, Marjorie Taylor up in there. I mean, just to name a few. Make sure you share the show right now. Let's share the show, if you would, to your timelines, to your friends, to your groups. Let's get this thing started. As promised, we're going to have our first of 2 guests today. And the first one, of course, is an up-and-coming college coach who has got it out the mud and earned his way through the ranks despite not being one of those blue chip names. He didn't come from a blue blood as far as in colleges. He wasn't a star in the NBA and came back to do it. This is one of those young men that cultivated relationships along the way. He got it done, and he went back and used those relationships as well as his basketball resume to go and lead young men in the college ranks. And as he's done so, he ended up going to St. Mary's, where he played at, went back as a coach, then got a job going there. Sienna came with a bag out of. He followed that bag. Yeah, Sienna came over there. Hey man, get this bag. And he came, hey, walking with the bag, coins falling out the bag. He came pick up the bag. He just got, as soon as he get that bag and untie, George Washington coming to me. I'm talking about straight from the apple tree. Just came and away and took him over to George Washington, where he's been for the last 2 seasons. And this is none other than Jamion Christian. And this brother here, man, we want to welcome you to the Chop Shop. And congratulations, Coach, on your latest gig of the college ranks.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I'm fired up and juiced, and And, let's tackle this thing today and let's have a great time over the next 30 minutes or so.
Absolutely. You say tackle this thing.
Coach, what year were you at Siena?
I was at Siena last year. So I was there 2018 to 19. And then 19 to 20, I was here at GW. So I was there 18 to 19 at Siena.
I was just checking. I had a follow-up question.
It's been a crazy journey,
you in
man.
you in the wrong year. You in the wrong year, but you good. You good. What, Jimmy, what you got for Coach?
I mean, Coach, you say tackle this thing. Let's get right into it and see for tackling. As a college coach, with all this stuff that's going on right now, and today you land at a program now. You have to go and implement change. What are your thoughts on a lot of the social injustices and the police brutality? Let's get that. Let's tackle that. Since we're gonna play a little football for the basketball coach today.
Yeah. Well, growing up Black in America, you're tackling these issues all the time. And it's funny. I feel like the history that people are learning right now is the history that you always had a great uncle or great grandfather that would tell you this history, that you would go to school and you would never find this history out. You get that history book and you start working through history and you're like, well, my grandfather told me this, and your teacher would not have a recognition of that. And I think those things would happen. I think the history we were getting and the learning we've been getting as black boys growing up in this country, we've had one alternate education that we were getting with our family and the people we were with. We're getting another alternate education when we're going into the school system and learning. And, I'm enthused that we're getting a chance here to kind of shine some light on some of these things and shining a light on the systems that have been in place that have not allowed us to achieve at the level that we've always wanted to. And so I think that's exciting. Myself being an educator, there's nothing better than this. If you don't want to lead right now when all this is going on, then you're not a leader. And I'm really enjoying leading right now, working with our players, helping them understand their facets of it. What's different for guys like you and I, like us, really, is we've grown up in this world to understand the misfortune and some of the things that have gone on. But for our young people, the guys we're working with, they're just starting to get into that age where they just start to see it. And so what I think is important for me is not to tell them how to think or how to be. I think that's been done enough in our history. My responsibility is to give them the information and help them learn how to work through it, to understand their purpose in life and how they can go on and impact others. And so that's what's exciting about, where we are right now. And I think some people are kind of running away from it. But we're, like we said, we're tackling it. And it's been a joy watching our guys learn and to relearn some things. And I'm excited to watch them go and impact.
Coach, do you have some practical stuff that you have, how you've been tackling it? Because we can say tackling it. How have you been addressing it? I know y'all been doing it through like Zoom or something like that. So give us something, Coach. We got a lot of us got. This is a melting pot, multicultural friends and everything. How have you been tackling with your players in your sphere of influence? Coach, you are the leader. You are the CEO of that basketball program. So what is coming out of the CEO's office?
Well, what's been great, the first thing we started was education, and we just started teaching these guys and giving them materials, creating debate within our own locker room. I think everything you want to do starts at home. And so I think that's important. And so we started at home. We started sharing the message and listening there and talking to one another, having those deep conversations. And then my thing with our team, they actually put together a quote tree that they want to put out social media wise, where they went through and they all found their individual quote and they read it. And it was a tremendous piece that they decided to do. And that's what I want to empower them to do. It's not about what I want to do. It's about empowering them on what they want to do. And then we're going to continue to stay in this conversation sphere with the things that we can do when we get back here to campus. Being in Washington, D.C., there's a ton of things that we can work towards. Obviously, voting is going to be a huge thing over the next year. But I want to find something for our program to do that we can latch on every year that's probably about the education within our system. Being in Washington, D.C., we have an opportunity to do that, to go into middle schools, to go into high schools, and to do that. So we're going to build a program and create a program where we're able to do that with our team. And I think that's going to be really important. You think about this right now over COVID, what we're going to have here, the second half of the school year was basically eliminated. And maybe the first part of the school year might be eliminated. The dropout rates right now for our NEC Black kids is going to be really high. And no one's really talking about that. And so just kind of finding the conversation piece on that, going to talk to some people here in DC and figure out what we can do. But I think no one's talking about that. But this is a major issue within our communities that's going to hit us down the road, right? So you're looking at two different areas right now, two different sets of seniors that might not finish or maybe deterred to go do something else. we want to make sure we're trying to do our part to kind of look into that. So those are a couple of things we're going to do, but we're going to do that as a group. We're going to talk as a team and kind of build some pieces in place and pull some resources in. That's going to be a much larger discussion, but we're going to be really driven to do that. And then obviously tomorrow we're having our GW 360, which we're really excited about. It's a program where we're bringing the very best of people of color and college administration. We have presidents and ADs and head coaches and former coaches and national champions. And, so we're excited about that and the chance to bring in everyone together with a purpose to educate and to inspire, right? And so anyone that has a chance to tune in tomorrow from 9 to 9, it's a free platform. Anyone that has a chance to sign in for GW 360 tomorrow, you're going to get a chance to listen to someone who's battled through some of the things that we're battling through, that's found their way to the top of it, and that their purpose is to impact others behind them. And so it's going to be a really exciting opportunity for us. So, those are a couple of things that we're on. We're excited about doing those things, and we're really committed to fighting social justice and to help educating people around the world.
Jimmy, I got a question from the Facebook page. It's come from B. Scott, coach, one of our she's one of our regular people that on the show. She said, 30 years, what do you want your legacy to be with your former players?
Well, your legacy with your players is always the most important thing, So I always say is, this is what happens inside a locker room. You become really close to the guy and you care about him. And our legacy is going to be determined by this. 30 years down the road, 20 years down the road, one of my guys is going to have a bad day. Might have an awful day. It could be a death in a family. They could be having suicidal thoughts. Their wife could leave them. It could be, a multitude of things. Our legacy is determined on if they pick the phone up and call one of their teammates, or they pick the phone up and call one of their former coaches. That's what our legacy is really built on. Because that means in the toughest moment, you knew you had someone that you could call that would be there for you, that would listen. And so that's the kind of legacy that we're trying to build. It's not about winning and losing. It's about the human experience and helping people understand how important that is. And so I've always based my legacy off of that. Right now, I've got a lot of young guys. I've got over 100 plus guys who've played for me now. So I'm enthused with that. When they call you when they had the birth of their child, Coach, I was thinking about you. That's a tremendous moment. That's such a victory. And so just trying to find these life milestones that kind of go through, and them knowing that they can always pick the phone up and have someone there that loves and cares about them unconditionally, and that will tell them the hard truths when they need to hear it, and hug them and pick them up when they also need that. I think that's really important. That's how I've always based our. And I don't think that will ever change.
Awesome.
Is there a coach out there that you called when you had your first baby, that you called and informed when you got married, that you called and let them know every lap that you made around the track, the track of success? Tell us about those coaches that you look up to and give back to.
I'm fortunate. I'm the son of a coach. My dad, John Christian, was a track and field guy from Virginia State. He went to HBCU. My mom went to HBCU. So my dad's a coach. He's a track and field coach, 2-time state champion, track and field in Virginia. So I'm a son of a coach. So I understand this a good bit. And so obviously my mother and my father were the first calls that I made. I mean, parenting is like coaching on steroids every day. So we have that. And so my dad was the first call. Secondly, Shaka Smart. I love Shaka. He's amazing to me. He's an amazing man, and we've become great friends. So coach is definitely on that call list. And then my high school coach is a guy who means so much to me, a guy named Ed Allen Jr. I watched him care for kids in a high school setting. And when kids needed something, his office door was always open. And you think about high schools. I mean, I don't know if we spend enough time talking about the school system and the importance in our community and the importance of the leadership within our school systems. But watching him lead young people and to care for young people when they needed things and just standing firm for them was just a great representation for me every single day. And again, my mom and dad are both teachers. And so there's a reason why I really think I've been attracted to those who mentor and who lead.
And we just tune in. This is, Coach Jamion Christian, head coach at George Washington, dropping some good nuggets and responding to one of the questions in the Boomer Room. We'll toss another one to you, Coach, because I'm quite sure we're going to be flooded in the moments to come. We have another segment left with Coach, but first let me get this question in. We have about a minute and a half left. So how are you personally involved in recruiting players and developing relationships before your players get to campus?
Well, I love them. I mean, we spend a lot of time with the guys individually, and every staff in the country has 3 or 4 assistants that are kind of going out and doing a great part, and we have that. We have three great assistants here personally, for me, I want to make sure I'm with people that want to change the world. We talk about here at GW is we want to change the game up. We want to be one of the best programs in the country. We're going to be one of the best programs in the country. So I always say, don't come here unless you want to do something that's never been done. And so we've got to find guys that are really ambitious, but that also understand the importance of building up to a process. So I'm going to spend a ton of time. I mean, with the guys we're recruiting, I'm the one texting them a ton. I'm calling them a ton. They always say I ask a lot of questions because I want to know who they are. I want to know how they think. And, from that moment that they commit to us, we have a responsibility. We talk about love is accountability and accountability is love. If I truly love them, that means I love their dream and I love who they want to become. And so my job then, as soon as they commit to us, is make sure that I'm holding them accountable to the steps necessary for them to become the person, the player they want to be. And so we just take a real personal attention to detail with that stuff. And I've always loved that. I mean, I don't think you should be in coaching unless you love kids and love helping them improve. And that's one of our passions here at GW. And I got a great staff of guys that do a tremendous job with that as well as sharing the gospel.
And we're up at the break now, I think, Harold.
Yeah, got 45 seconds left.
And we'll come right back, Coach. And I wanted you to elaborate on this GW 360 degrees that you talked about earlier, that you mentioned earlier. So, and because this thing is you mentioned you glossed right over it, but we want to detail some of the things that are taking place and some of the topics that you guys are going to address, because that is tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir. Tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m.
Well, we come right back because I'm peeking at this thing and hey, Ella, this thing is legit.
Impressive list. Wow.
Coach, it might be some folk mad at you. After doing this, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. We're right back on the Chop Shop.
Let's tackle it.
All right, this is G-Day Hoop Scott. I'm here with Chris Johnson, Fort Bend Elkins High School Houston Hoops, E15, the Elite 15 squad. Chris, man, you're having a really good weekend, man. Really kind of boosting your stock a lot. Just tell us a little bit about your game and your motivation and what you're really trying to do.
Well, at this point, I'm just trying to be the #1 player to stay in the country, and I feel like that people been disrespecting me on ranking lists because of how I performed in high school, and I'm trying to show them that I'm still top dog. Like, nobody gonna mess with me, like, for real.
Well, you're certainly doing that this weekend, man. Appreciate the interview. Keep it up, keep balling, man.
Sure.
You're definitely taking it up to the next level, man.
Sure.
We here with the Baller Club.
This was never just a game.
This was speaking out for decades, and the sad reality is people have to change their view of us.
And it's shown us that humanity is greater than anything else that divides us.
We're actually living and breathing human beings that have a multitude of intelligence, work ethic, discipline, talent.
We stand on the shoulders of men and women who fought for our right to participate, for our right to run without fear, for our right to not only breathe, but thrive.
I want to see that same uproar. I want to see that same, this is not our country. This is not what we want to represent, but we can't be the only voices doing that.
We have a right to make it known, loud and clear.
My patience left my body when I watched George Floyd take his last breath.
Our lives matter.
To the younger kids, what I really want to spark is their imagination. I want to spark that wonderment, the idea of like setting their dreams high now and to go after those things at a young age.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Man, thank you, man. Appreciate that, man. You guys bring me joy, man. You guys bring me joy. Dear Black boy, your dreams are valid and they're valuable. So let your voice be heard, share your stories, shout from the top of the buildings when you get a chance. You are great, you're geniuses, you're entrepreneurs, you're architects, you're dreamers. And never stop dreaming and never stop creating. I'm looking forward to see the way that you change the world, and I'm waiting for that flying car. Sincerely, Marty.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. With us, we have head coach Jamion Christian from George Washington. And this guy understands something. A couple of years ago, the Ben Jobe Coach of the Year Award recipient. That's normally designated for the top Division I minority coach. He won. He earned that.
That's last year?
That was a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago. And, Coach, the reason I really know about that award, because a friend of mine won it this year, Damon Stoudemire. He won it. Yeah, so great award. Hey, stick your chest out. That's a great award. But, Jimmy, you can keep
and
on.
since you come from a family of HBU Indies.
Yep.
Ben Jobe is a longtime head coach at Southern University down in Baton Rouge. Just take us a little bit about HBCU, because you didn't go to HBCU.
I did.
Your parents did.
Yep.
And so explain to us why not, and what does the whole Ben Jobe and the HBCU conversation mean right now?
This is a great story. So my mom and dad, my mom went to Norfolk State, my dad went to Virginia State. And my dad's a Trojan, my mom's a Spartan. So you get this history, which is amazing when you're growing up with that, because you're watching, the Virginia State, you got the woo-woos, you got all that.
Yeah.
So, we're going to Virginia State homecoming, and we're going to Norfolk State events. And so you just get this whole education about HBCUs, which is amazing, from your family. And, so much of our upbringing is really based on that. And I think people, because I went to Mount St. Mary's, people always say, well, why not HBCU? I wanted to go to Hampton. I was a Virginia State Player of the Year in Virginia coming out of high school, and I wanted to go to Hampton. So I got accepted to Hampton, but Hampton never offered me a scholarship. And that's where I wanted to go. So, I was walking. I wanted to go there so bad. Now, they were really good at the time. But, so I'm Virginia State Player of the Year. And so I had Mount St. Mary's, I had VMI, and I was like, I want to go to Hampton. So I'm basically calling Hampton, begging to go to Hampton. And, I just never got offered. They wouldn't offer me a walk-on spot. I was like, can I at least get a walk-on spot? Because I got accepted there. And so I ended up going to Mount St. Mary's on a scholarship. And playing there. So, I wanted to go to HBCU, the truth be told, is because I just loved Hampton, and I just fell in love with that place when I had a chance to go there and walk around and visit and all that. So it's not their fault. They know what they're doing. But, I wanted to go to one of those as well.
You don't have to say it. I'll say it. Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm curious. So wait a minute. Did you have an offer from Mount St. Mary's after the Hampton interest?
Yeah, so I was trying to create interest from Hampton. So I'm like, please recruit me. So I applied that school. I applied, I think, 3 schools, and that's one of the schools I applied to. And I said to myself, if I get into Hampton, I'm going to Hampton. Wow. And so I got into Hampton. I get my acceptance letter. I think it was early decision. So I'm like, all year long, I'm like sending film to Hampton, asking those guys to recruit me, like begging them to recruit me. And I had offers from VMI, Mount St. Mary's, Coastal Carolina, Austin Peay. So I had good offers, but I couldn't get Hampton to recruit me. So I didn't really have a choice.
Virginia State Player of the Year.
Yeah, Virginia State Player of the Year.
Dude, that's how rare that is. Wait a minute. You had D1 offers and was willing to turn them down and pay to go to school.
Yeah, if I would have gotten to Hampton, I would have paid
to get to HBCU, and they still didn't want.
No, Jimmy, he wasn't willing to pay to go to school. Whoa. He wanted them to offer him a scholarship. You didn't hear that?
But I would have paid to.
He said he wanted a walk-on.
Yeah, if I didn't give me a walk-on spot, I would have gone to Hampton.
But you got accepted. But you got accepted, Coach.
But they wouldn't offer me the walk-on spot. They wouldn't even give me a guaranteed walk-on spot. So I was like, I wouldn't even know if I was gonna be on the team.
Thank you. That's crazy. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Have you ever told? They know about it now. The old coach that was there back in the days. Have you ever met him face to face now?
I haven't. I mean, they left. That and they were really good then. I mean, that was the teams that beat Boise. That won in Boise, won at the game in Boise State that year, and all those things. They were good teams then. So those guys moved on from Hampton to Evansville. I think a year or two after I was already in college. So I've never had a chance to cross-reference with them, but that's my whole thing is I loved Hampton. So I feel like Hampton's such an amazing place.
Hey, Coach, you know what's funny?
Coach, I like how you kept it classy. You kept it classy because I want to tear those coaches' head off right now, and I'm gonna go and research them. And when you off this show, I got something to say to them coaches.
hey man, this is that's an amazing story, and it's ironic. Speaking of Hampton. And there was a kid, of course, NCAA guidelines prevent coaches from speaking publicly about prospects who have yet to sign letters of intent or scholarship papers. Well, there was a young man that was in Houston ironically. And this young man was in the 12th grade, and he got accepted to a number of schools. He's a basketball first team All-State. And during the pandemic came, the way he was raised, a lot of those offers, he wanted the HBCU experience.
Mm-hmm.
And he was adamant about it. He had some good offers. I don't know. I had the list of schools somewhere in my phone. Like he got accepted to, not offers in basketball, but he wanted to seek a walk-on spot at Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, he went and established his own line of hand sanitizer.
Oh, wow.
During the pandemic. This thing has been selling like hotcakes. They ran out and told everybody to hold tight. We had to go and they had to go and do some production and get it all together. This young man created, this is the minds that are out there. The entrepreneurial mindset of a 12th grade young man. At that time, he hadn't graduated yet. He's graduated now, high school. But at that time, so I wanted to just give him, he's going to Hampton. They've accepted him as a walk-on spot with the school. And of course, shout out, a couple of the guys on the staff that I know been knowing a long while. And I was just wondering if the coaches were coaching at the time when you were coming out, if I knew those coaches.
No, they're different now.
Coach, you think Coach 22 years old? Coach a little older than 22 years old, Jim.
No, Hatter. He's a little older than 22, but I'm thinking back in those days, it was like the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, early 2000s.
Back then, Hatter, the Boo Williams Classic used to be held at Hampton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boo Williams hadn't built this complex yet.
Right.
That's where it was held at.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we used to go there every year for the Boo Williams. Mm-hmm. I covered that event. And I'm thinking, I know the staff back around those days.
For sure.
Oh, you talking about that staff? I'm sorry, I'm talking about the staff now. Yeah. I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So, but I gotta get on them myself.
Jimmy, I got to ask Coach. You own the chop shop, right? We're in Texas, right? So it's some Texas moms and some Texas dads. I know you can't talk about no player, but it's some Texas kids. Would you think about recruiting in this area?
I love Texas. I've been, when I was at William & Mary, I was in Houston, and I'd be in Houston and Dallas all the time. Okay. So I think that's a great area. I mean, it's a great area for, really smart people and with great athleticism, and that's what we've always been looking for. We coached a kid named Stephen Tyree from Strake Jesuit when I was when I was at Bucknell. And Stephen Tyree was like this 6'6", wiry,
long,
super smart, long. I mean, talking super long. It was a great teammate. So, like the guys like that. So we love recruiting down there. We'll be down there a good bit. And I've always felt like, there's a lot of areas that you can recruit, but I always feel like Houston, Dallas, San Antonio is underrated as well. Are also great areas to look into because there's always guys that can really play coming in and out of those areas.
Coach, where were you coaching? I'm sorry, Jim. Where were you coaching in like 2012, 13 in the Mary?
You're taking me back. So 2012, I was coaching. I was a head coach at Mount St. Mary's in 2012.
Oh, okay.
So I think I want to say I was there the year. That was the year after I was at VCU.
Okay.
Was Will Holland under you at the time you were there?
Yeah, I mean, Mounties. So
from H-Town. H-Town, Will Holland, Lamar High School.
Okay. Yeah, Will and I worked together for 2 years at Mount St. Mary's. He's still at Mount St. Mary's. Will's an unbelievable basketball mind and great at teaching spacing and offense. So, we had a great bond. He worked all our guys out, did a great job there. He's a guy that can be a head coach someday, and he's special. He's special in terms of his knowledge and understanding. I love Will to death. Again, being Mounties, we're like brothers. And, make that progression from being a great player to a great coach has been a lot of fun.
Tell us a little bit about the 360 that's taking place tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this thing, and what inspired you to put this thing together? There's a lot of people that are going to be speaking and engaging in conversation, some serious conversations from what I understand. Right?
We've always wanted to do this. When I was at Mount St. Mary's, I looked at one of the things I like to do is I look at the spaces and look and see what things are needed in our market. And one of the things I noticed in our market was that we just didn't have any Black leadership bringing people along with a process and a purpose, And we would have, the BCA, when I started coaching, the BCA had sort of disappeared almost. And now we're going to try to bring that back. But the BCA was such a big thing when we had John Thompson and guys like that leading it, that it just really, so we've had a void for that for a few years. And I just looked at that space and I said, man, we've got to do a better job of being responsible of our space right now. And the way we can do that, we have great Black athletic directors, presidents, coaches. We have everything within the NCAA world, but we don't have an event where we bring everybody together. And so when I was at Mount St. Mary's, I was thinking, if we can get everybody in the same room and everyone having the same conversation, how powerful can we be? And I just kept thinking back. There's a guy speaking tomorrow named Bruce Stewart. And Bruce Stewart was associate athletic director at Old Dominion when I was an assistant coach at William & Mary, making $42,000 a year and trying to figure it out. And Bruce was, although we weren't at the same place together, he was a guy I could call and text, and he would give me great advice on how to navigate the world and how to navigate college athletics. And I just thought, man, wouldn't that be great if people knew other people out there that they could connect with that could help them navigate? And so there's so many people in my life. Paula Wetzel-Robo will be speaking tomorrow, and she's amazing, amazing in every way. She worked with me at Mount St. Mary's, and we'd go to these lunches once or twice a month, and we would talk about the university setting and things we need to do differently and how we could make things better for the university, but in particular for people of color that were going to Mount St. Mary's. And I just thought, man, we need to get everybody in a room where everyone can hear these voices. I think it's really easy when you have a person like a John Thompson that everyone can look up to because he's a national champion. He's a tremendous voice and a tremendous leader. We need that, but we also need people along the way that can help us get to the next milestone and to understand what we need to do and to teach us leadership and how we can bring others with us. And so the purpose of GW360 is to educate and inspire. And I think we can inspire not only by the stories and the lessons, but we can inspire by the presence of the people being there and being on the call.
Wow.
And
Good
so
time for a break, Jim.
So we at the break.
Yeah.
We go to the break and we come right back for our last segment with Coach. And this is some good combo because I want to pull back the rug, the doormat, and figure out, and so we can understand how the people can watch these conversations. What are some of the topics that you're going to tackle on tomorrow? And other than educating and inspiring, who can watch and who you're trying to reach with these conversations? Right back on the Chop Shop.
Bloody catalog of oppression, which we are in one way too familiar with already. What this does to the subjugated, the most private, the most serious thing this does to the subjugated, is to destroy his sense of reality. It destroys, for example, his father's authority over him. His father can no longer tell him anything because the past has disappeared, and his father has no power in the world. This means, in the case of an American Negro, born in that glittering republic, and in the moment you are born, since you don't know any better, every stick and stone and every face is white, and since you have not yet seen a mirror, you suppose that you are too. It comes as a great shock around the age of 5 or 6 or 7 to discover that the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace, and to which you owe your life and your identity, has not in its whole system of reality evolved any place for you. The disaffection, the demoralization, and the gap between one person and another, only on the basis of the color of their skins, begins there and accelerates throughout a whole lifetime, so that presently you realize you're 30 and are having a terrible time managing to trust your countrymen. By the time you are 30, you have been through a certain kind of mill. And the most serious effect of the mill you've been through is again not the catalog of disaster. The policemen, the taxi drivers, the waiters, the landlady, the landlord, the banks, the insurance companies, the millions of details, 24 hours of every day.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour. We are officially on that back nine, y'all. So now you know what time it is. If you hadn't done so, please share the show with your timelines and to your hoop groups, to your friends. Stop being selfish. Get the Chop Shop out there so we can help everybody get educated, get inspired. That's the theme for the day. And meanwhile, we'll go and let Coach answer a few of your questions, right? Shortly. We're going to get to all of your questions that are asked on the timeline. But first, real quick, Coach, can you continue to share with us about the 360, the GW 360 workshop, the movement that is in place and was kick off on tomorrow?
Yeah, so what we designed to do is try to pull all these different people from the university and to be able to allow them to be able to connect with people. So we have like university leadership, like right now with COVID and with our movement that we're all about right now, we wanted to get people in front of others that could share what they're doing actively on their campuses, some of the things that they're maybe being held up that they want to do, that they need power to be able to do. We want them to be able to share those kind of things. I think that's going to be really fun to be able to do. And that's what we talk about, bringing in university leadership. We're going to bring in some athletic leadership. We're going to bring in some ADs, right? We're going to bring in some great ADs and people that are talking about what we're doing right now on our college campuses. Right now, what we're seeing with our student athletes, man, they're really being empowered, and they're really having an understanding of what their power is right now. So we want to make sure that we're talking to our administrators. We're kind of finding out, well, what exactly are we doing within our athletic department that's allowing them to power, that's helping them learn their voices and being able to share. We're going to bring in a search firm. We're going to bring in people for a search firm, people that, we're going to bring in Kevin Anderson, the former AD at Maryland. He's now working with a search. We're going to bring in Herb Courtney, one of your guests today, to bring in, he's the only black search firm guy, his own, a guy that's amazing. And so we're bringing them in because people don't understand, how do you get a job? How do you promote yourself? How do you move up? And so bringing these people in front and allowing people to share and talk about that, it's going to be really important. And, again, we're bringing in people that maybe we don't always have access to, but for a one-day event, we're going to have a chance to do that. And then we're going to conclude the day with, which is going to be amazing, with the legends. We're going to bring in the guys who have really, really done an amazing job. We got Tubby Smith coming in. We're going to have Gary Charles moderate it. When you got the legends, you got to make sure you bring a heavy hitter in there to moderate, someone that's going to be able to control the egos and stuff there. And Gary's going to be able to do that. And so we've got Leonard Hamilton, Lorenzo Romar, Mike Davis. Like, we're juiced about that. I mean, we've got guys that have been in NCAA tournaments, guys won national championships, and you just don't get to see that every single day, especially for the great price of free. And so people can join us at GW360, coachesclinic.com. And, it's a free clinic. You just got to put your email in there and you just got to log in. Anybody can watch it. Again, our goal is to inspire anyone that has a chance to take a look at it. I feel really confident that no matter who watches, with the people that we have, you're going to be confident. You're going to gain some inspiration just by being in the proximity of a lot of these great people.
And what's that website again where they can go and watch, Coach?
GW360.coaches.clinic.com.
And
Coach,
that is a free.
Go on, Jim.
Yep.
That is a free workshop on tomorrow. We're going on all day starting at 9 a.m. Is that 9 a.m. Eastern or
9 a.m. Eastern? I don't think anyone's ever done this, Jimmy. I don't think anyone's ever attempted to do this. And we try to tackle big things here. And that's what we believe in. Again, if you're going to do something that's never been done, you got to be willing to do some steps of things that have never been done before. And that's our attempt to do it tomorrow.
And that's a good thing, guys. We definitely invite you over to watch it, because what it does is it helps. This is one of the many ways, due to technology, that you guys are able to understand what makes a lot of these coaches tick. A free opportunity. Now, would they be able to? They won't be able to ask questions. They'll be will they be able to conversate, or are they just watching the conversation?
They're going to watch. They're going to be able to add questions into the queue. Each section is about an hour and 15 minutes long, so it'll be a rapid fire day. But we want to be as interactive as possible. We want questions, as many as possible, and we just want everyone to have a chance to tune in, to have a great day, and to learn something. Again, I don't think this has ever been done. And so there might be some things that happen with that, but we're excited about that opportunity. And I think we've got to start taking on, big challenges if we're going to create the kind of change that we need to make. And we're excited as a staff and at GW here to do that.
Well, we get right over to the questions now, Coach. We have a boatload of questions from a lot of our viewers.
Real quick,
from both platforms.
Coach, we got a kid from we got somebody on your on your feed now. They from in your area. This is a grown man.
Okay.
And your parents went to Virginia State and Norfolk State?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He went to one of those schools up there too. And he's on the and he's about to ask you some questions, but Jimmy curtailed his questions because he was asking about particular players and you can't talk about. But he did say how did you if you can't answer, let me know because there's no name. He said, Coach, how did you let the Twins leave University of Maryland and go to Rhode Island? I don't know what he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about?
Of course. I know
is it possible for you to talk about that?
They're amazing, man. I mean, they're amazing guys, and we can't take everybody with where we are. We try to. I mean, we've got 9 DMV guys, the most in the country on one roster. So we've really made a major focus of that, and I think at the timing of it might not have been perfect, and they're going to have a great career at Rhode Island. It's one of those ones where those guys leave your area, and you're like, they're going to get you. But you can't always take everybody all the time, and you just try to find a way to be able to. And again, man, they're going to have great careers. I've seen those guys play so much through the years, and we're always rooting for them. They're special talents.
Wow.
Next question for you, Coach, is George Washington is one of the top pick and roll teams in the country, top 5, I believe.
We are.
What are your thoughts in principle for the high usage of the pick and roll system?
I love it. What I love about it is I think, what we've tried to do here at GW, Siena, and Mount St. Mary's, and our offense has been top 5 with the pick and roll for the last 5 or 6 years. So this is an area that we really focus in on. We pick and roll in a lot of different ways. A couple things. Number one, if we're going to pick and roll a ton, we're going to be able to get guards that want to play off that screen and roll. Guys that really want to have the ball in their hands and have the ability to make plays. Secondly, it's easier for us to develop our centers, right? So if a guy's a young guy that can run and dunk, we can develop his skill over the time, but he can still find a way to be really be really good within our offense. So it gives us some wiggle room with those 2 guys and allows us to bring in really, really good guards. And then I love shooting the 3-point shot. And so, the ability to be able to space the floor. I mean, we want to get up to this year 50% of our shots from 3. That's our goal. So the ability to be able to do that off the screen and roll when you have a lot of shooting out there just gives you an advantage that people really can't pick against. And so we're excited about that. And that's what we've been working on the last few years. Our offense has been really good. Wasn't as good last year as it had been in the past, but we're in a great place right now, getting everything going in the right direction with the guys we've signed. It's going to be exciting. We get 3 guys this year that made 84 plus threes in a single season, and I don't think that's ever happened in NCAA history. A guy named Sloan Seymour who made 94 as a freshman, Maceo Jack who made 84 as a junior. Now he's going to be a senior, and Jameson Battle who made 89 as a freshman. So we're really believing in how we're trying to do it. And again, if you're going to go do something that's never been done, you got to be able to build a system that no one's seen before. And I'm excited that I think we're really close to doing that.
I like that, Coach. And so now, can you give a tip to the people out there that may be watching, parents or high school coaches or grassroots coaches? When you mentioned the pick and roll is very important to you for us guards, being able to play out of the pick and roll. When you are evaluating, what are some of the things that you're looking for from that guard that's going to pique your interest as far as within your system? Because people look, Johnny may score 35. Yeah. But look, Johnny can't run. He waving the pick off or not even calling for no picks. That may not pique you, or it may. So just explain to us, elaborate on that.
The pick and roll is a great laboratory to see who's truly confident in themselves. Because, 9 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times you come off that screen and roll, you're not going to have a shot. It's going to be about somebody else. It's going to be what you're creating for somebody else. If you have true confidence in yourself, you're going to be patient enough to take those 2 or 3 opportunities when they present themselves. And you're going to be unselfish enough to create for others. And so I'm always looking for guys that are really confident. Anybody can score 30 if I take enough shots. But can I say to myself, I'm going to take 12 shots today and I'm going to score 20. But I'm going to create for my teammates, 6, 7, 8 assists. If the team doubles me today, am I unselfish enough to share and give it to other people and then be excited for the win afterwards because I knew I did what was best for our team? That's what we're looking for. Everyone thinks it's about scoring, and there's an element of scoring there. I mean, there's an element of talent in everything that we do. But the talent between guys is marginal. The mental capacity to understand what you need to do in the moment to be at your very best, that's where it's specialized. And so we've got to evaluate guys enough to get through the layer of talent and get to the layer of excellence, and we call it elite. We only want to coach those that want to be elite. You know, a lot of guys want to be good. A lot of guys want to be good. Do you want to be elite? And if you want to be elite, you're going to let us coach you hard, you're going to love you hard, and you'll be really unselfish in everything that you do.
Yeah.
No, man, he's just amazing. When you get to talk about this point guard stuff, Coach, I just listen, Jimmy. I'm just, hey, you're talking to a point guard over, and I'm just sitting there saying, wow. And, and then had a son that played the position. So it's, Coach, what I think it's somebody's on Hoop Nation, they said you got that in Tyler Briceford.
Yeah. We've got a great group of guys.
You've already signed this guy already?
Yep.
Okay, so we can talk about that.
We signed Tyler.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, the class we've signed, Tyler Briceford is from Mount St. Joe High School in Baltimore. He's 6'4.5". He shot 43% from three on the circuit last year. And he's just like growing into his own. I mean, I think this guy has a real ability to be special. And so we have him. We have Jameer Nelson Jr., Jameer's son as well.
Okay.
That's extremely athletic. He averaged about 10 points a game last year in the A-10 as a freshman. James Bishop, also from Mount St. Joe High School in Baltimore. We've signed him as well. Lincoln Ball, a 6'5" guard that comes out of Western Maryland. So, we've got a lot of guys I really believe in, and that's what I'm excited about. But the one thing they can all do, they're all unselfish. They all have great confidence. They all share the ball, and they all make shots, and they all want the biggest moment. And I think, as you know, the best players want the biggest moment. They want it right in their hands. They want an opportunity to go and prove their greatness against the very best. And I think we have that with our guard play this year.
Coach, just by you being on this show for this hour, right? I'm kind of thinking about your demeanor when you're coaching. I've never seen you coach. What kind of coach, what sideline coach are you? What kind of sideline coach are you? Do you come out your tie? You take your tie off. You be sharp at first. Take your tie off. Do you throw your coat? I mean, do you jump up and down like the coach at Tulane? The coach at Tulane that used to be at Georgia State. Oh, his name is yeah. I just want to.
I can't be Ron Hunter. I can't be Ron Hunter.
What is your style, Coach? You seem like you seem like you got a little. You seem like you got a little Tommy Amaker in you.
Yeah.
Huh? So tell me what's your
for
style.
Me, I haven't sat down. I'm going into my 8th or 9th year as a head coach. I haven't sat down one time. So I don't sit down. Like, my guys are on the floor. They're working. I'm working. So I'm pretty calm though. Like, I'm not a guy that goes high and low. I think I'm known as a guy who's pretty level. One thing that's really important to me, like, I take my jacket off in the first play because I can't call plays. I can't move around with my jacket on.
Right.
But I understand my responsibility to the job that I have, that I need to come out wearing a jacket looking nice. Sunday's best. I think we all understand that. But I'm generally pretty calm. I'll get up and down a little bit. But, what's important for me is that when those guys come off the floor, we do this every time they come off. I give them a big hug when they come off almost every time.
Okay.
I stand right there in the middle. They got to walk through me because that's important. No matter when you come out of that game, I want you to know that you're loved and supported. And then I'm going to talk and communicate with you. But I'm generally pretty even killed. Okay. And when the game's at its best, I always feel like I'm at my very best. And so I want to make sure I stay calm. And my goal sometimes I want to beat the other team's coach with my enthusiasm and my positive enthusiasm. I think you can wear people down with positive enthusiasm faster than anything else. So that's what we try to do.
Wow.
I mean, Coach, great nuggets that you're dropping right now for a lot of the people out there, and we can see some of the Shaka Smart as rubbed right off on you. It's like I'm listening to Shaka as you're talking, and so tell me this. So Shaka goes to UT.
Yep.
I mean, and especially now with all of the budgets and things that are going on with the pandemic. I mean, have you played UTEC Texas yet?
We haven't. Coach and I talk every day, just about text or talk or some storm every day. He's been amazing to me. He's joining us tomorrow as well on KW360. So we're excited about that, and I'm gracious for his time and the wisdom that he's going to be able to drop. I mean, he's just special in all ways. And I think with having that year working with him, it's not often that this happens, right? Like you get a chance to work for a black head coach. For me, that allowed me to see how I could be with our team. Most of the time as a young black coach, you're watching older white guys coach teams. And you can't be the same way with them, nor should you be. So my example was different. My example was a guy who was in it with the guys, connecting with the guys over and over again. And that's Coach Smart. And I've tried to be that way and tried to be me within it. And he's been a tremendous friend to me over the years.
I mean, indeed, but Coach, hey, that's your guy.
That's my guy.
Isn't that a way of supporting your program by him inviting you into Austin to play a home game and giving you that big, nice check?
I understand it. I mean, I'd love to play down in Texas. I love spending that time with Coach. But I don't know if he's played a ton of his former guys. I think he tries to avoid that as much as possible. I mean, Coach is a great competitor now. So when you got two lions stepping into the ring together, you don't know what's going to happen there. And I think I respect him as a competitor. I think he respects me as a competitor. And we always say we hope we meet in the NCAA tournament someday. I think that'd be great for all of us. And that's where I'd love to meet him at.
Coach, he probably don't want no parts of you, Coach. That's what I know you're trying to. You always so nice and so politically correct. But I'll say it for you, Coach. Coach, he probably just don't. When he said, "Man, I don't want to go up against that guy. I taught that guy. I do not want to go against that guy." Yeah, but Coach, do y'all get up and down? Speaking of that, Coach, do y'all get up and down like? Do y'all get up and down on defense?
Yeah,
I'm talking about on defense.
So we've done a bunch. We've done a bunch of different things. So we've been number 3 in the country in tempo. We're in pressing and turnover times, top 5 a few times. And in the rebuilding, Siena was a rebuild. Last year was a rebuild. That's we had to slow the tempo down.
Right.
But I'm ready to rev that thing back up, and I can't wait to do that. And it's 94 feet on the court. I can't wait to pick somebody up right when they get the ball in bounds and make them work for it. And I think that's how basketball should be played. I think it should be a game where you're taking things away defensively and you're being aggressive. And we're really excited to get back to that this year. And that's my roots, being able to get there. So I can't wait to get back there. And if you're going to do it, you got to be elite. So you got to be top 5% in college basketball. So if we're going to turn people over, we got to do it at a high level. We will.
Well, Coach, the last question I want to ask in your program, what's the biggest situation or social issue that you will be facing when you meet with your team again in person for the duration, for long term? What do you plan to implement as your teachings into that team?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a couple things. I think number one, what I want to do with our team is I want to educate them so they're understanding what the issues are ahead. I think all of us in college basketball do something about voting. I think that's going to be a pretty common denominator. Everyone's going to do something about voting, and I think we're going to join. Like Michelle Obama does something in D.C. with voting, and we're going to do a bunch of stuff like that. That's going to be a mainstay, I think, moving forward. But I'm really curious is working with our team and asking them the things that they're seeing and the things that they want to jump on board on and the things they want to do. I think it's really easy for me as a 38-year-old male to say we're going to do this or that because that's important to me. But I want to work with them and find out what's important to them. I think with our student athletes who are smart and educated, I want to collaborate with them. And I want to figure out, hey, what do we want to do this high school program? Do we want to do a police program in DC? What exactly is important to you? And then let's put all our research to going and impacting in that area. So I'm excited to kind of collaborate with them. And I'll use that word a lot with the team because to me, it's much more about a collaboration. And when we get collaborating, we get together here finally when COVID's over and we have a chance to get together and kind of talk about some things, we'll find something that we're really passionate about as a group. And we're going to really go and work through that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that opportunity. We have a lot of guys in our locker room that have really educated themselves through this process. And so I'm excited about that. And I know for me, I want to really talk about the high school and the dropout rates and that stuff. I think that's going to be something that's going to hit. I'll present that to our team. But if our team isn't passionate about that, they're passionate about something else, then we'll do what our team does, and we'll put together a great program to be able to be at our best for them.
Coach, man, you have won some followers and some fans along with your conversation today, and leave you with one is B. Scott, and she says, okay, this coach has my heart with his last comment, and that's on the timeline. This is one of the things. Basically, you've just conducted a virtual home visit / office visit for a lot of the people that are watching right now. And this is one of the important things of being able to take out the time to receive some of the messages from a lot of the coaches and the guests that we have on the Chop Shop. But we definitely appreciate you, Coach, and we will be on tomorrow seeing you again with the GW 360 workshop, which will take place. Give them that website again, Coach.
GW360, coachesclinic.com.
And that is a free workshop starting at 9 a.m.
Eastern.
Tomorrow, Eastern time. 8 a.m. will be going all day. I think the last workshop 5 p.m. and different topics, different segments. And of course, yours truly will be moderating one of the panels, or I think right after tomorrow's Chop Shop. So right immediately after the Chop Shop, you guys can log on. Give that website one more time again.
GW360coachesclinic.com.
Make sure you guys come on and support your move. Thanks again so much. We got to go to the break and we get ready for our next guest. And this next guest is Herb Courtney. He's the founder of the nation's only active Black-owned college search firm. This is very important, and you guys need to hang right there so we can involve in this next conversation. But meanwhile, thanks a bunch to Coach Christian.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Thanks for the platform.
It's on the Chop Shop.
Appreciate it.
I understand. Well, we worried about this material, but we won't stand up for the motherfuckers. They get killed on the daily basis. Talk to me. I understand. How old are you? I'm tired of this shit. How old are you? I'm 45 years old. 45 and I'm 31. And I'm tired of seeing this shit, man. And you the older generation than me, and I am too. And we've been standing around as the older ones, taking all this bullshit. Always hoping for a kumbaya fucking y'all. Come here. Always standing around for a kumbaya. Ain't nobody coming to protect us. Let me tell you, we gotta start our own fucking life. I understand. But let me tell you something right here. This 16. He's 16. Oh my God. They gonna kill him next week. He's 16. What we gonna do? You tell me. What we gonna do? This ain't the way. Cause they ready to let loose. If the United States president say, if you loot, we shoot. Do you think doing this gonna help? I know it. It's doing it gonna help. But it's time to stand up. So at this point, I'm ready to die. Let me tell you what's going on. Let me tell you something. That's the problem that we got. That you see right now, it's gonna happen 10 years from now. And at 26, you're going to be doing the same thing I'm doing. You understand that? 10 years. You're going to be right here too. But he also got to stand up. So what I need y'all to do right now at 16 is come up with a better way. Because how we doing it, it ain't working. He angry at 46. I'm angry at 31. You angry at 16. It's old, you understand me? It's old. Putting yourself in harm's way is not the way. No, it's not. You and another your counterparts the same age and that has that same power. Y'all come up with a better way. Because we ain't doing it. Oh my God. And I have a 5-year-old son. Oh my God. And it ain't happening. Who is it? I marched 4 years ago. Keep Lamont Scott did the same shit y'all doing. The same exact thing night after night after night. It don't matter. Come up with a better way. You understand me? You keep yourself safe.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. We're officially on that back nine, and that was a great convo with Coach Jamion Christian of George Washington. If you guys got a chance to if you missed it, it is definitely worth going back and watching the Chop Shop later on. You can tune in later on today by simply going to Facebook or YouTube and just clicking on the link, and you can use your finger and scroll to the store, however you wish to do so. But make sure you get some nuggets from Coach Christian. I mean, you can see how, if he turned it out just now, just imagine him in an interview process. And as we mentioned in our next guest, is entwined with the interview process because he's the founder of the nation's only Black-owned college coaching search firm. Only. That we know of. If there's anybody out there, speak now or forever hold your peace. Now we have a young man, Herb Courtney, who's a former college coach himself, joining us right now. Welcome to the Chop Shop. Herb, what's the deal?
What's up, Liam? Robert, how you doing? How you guys doing?
Coach, you know you my man, Coach. Now, Coach, You all right with me, Coach? Me and Coach got a little in common.
Yeah.
We got a little something in common, Jimmy.
What you got in common?
Coach, he was coaching at Binghamton when Robert was playing at Cornell. So he had a chance to go against him a couple times. Yeah.
Was that your scout, Coach?
You know what? One or two of them were, and then when Robert, when his son started, scoring 30 and points against us, I had to pass it off, because his son was pretty good. Lefty, get downhill pretty fast. So, no, he was a hell of a player.
Coach, now today you, of course, speaking of coaching at Binghamton, let everybody know where else you coach from and tell us a bit about your basketball resume.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, it started, I went to University of Delaware. I played there at college. So I played under, two really good coaches, in Dave Henderson and Monte Ross. And then played overseas for a couple of years in Argentina, Israel, and Turkey. And then after that, after going in the corporate role for about 2 or 3 years, I landed at Binghamton. So that was really my whole coaching career at the collegiate level was at Binghamton University. I was there for 7 years.
7 years. And then so now you have founded a company, and it's RSC.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, Renaissance Search Consulting.
Because I founded a company called RCS. So
yeah.
I me to say without saying that. That's why I had to pause when I said it. Right. RSC. Tell them what RSC stands for.
It's Renaissance Search and Consulting. Yes, that's the firm I just started. We launched in February.
Let me Jimmy.
You say Jimmy. We.
Jimmy, hold on. Before you go with the we. I would like to that can be a 2-part question, Coach. Okay. I want to know how you expect to get into this market when this market has usually been a good old boy network, and this market has been the search firms for ADs and presidents and stuff like that. And they follow behind, and they have that hookup. I want to know. I just want to know how you plan on knocking down that wall.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously there is a barrier to entry, and that have kind of presented challenges, probably to search firms in the past that haven't traditionally been the top, 5 or 6 search firms. But, it is a systematic approach, right? Where a lot of those search firms, they hire the president and then the AD, and then obviously they in turn will hire the head coach. But, it all starts with relationships. For me, I have to identify, administrators that are up and coming, that are going to be ADs in the next 2-3 years, and build those relationships, build that trust, so, they'll give me an opportunity to be able to help them through that search process, and maybe identify candidates and expand their pools of people that they might not be aware of. So that's my approach to it. It's a relationship business. Being in college sports for 15 years, I have a lot of relationships, you know what I mean? And you have to leverage that and brand yourself in a way where, you add value. And I think especially now more than ever, it's a great time to have a firm like this where, we want that social, that social movement of equality and things like that, and making sure that underrepresented groups are being looked at and having opportunities.
So how hard has it been inserting yourself into this sector? And which is, because there's a lot of guys that serve in the underground market. There's a prevalent underground railroad for a lot of college coaches to get jobs, but there aren't search firms as yourself that's placing them there. There are individuals that has relationships and just basically looking out and doing his buddy a solid.
Yeah.
So So I mean, so how you receive now, because you're coming in, you're inserting yourself in, will you be able to not necessarily infiltrate that part of the sector, but to get those brothers, those black coaches on board, and those black head coaches and ADs on board?
Yeah, it's definitely been tough, to start, and but having a platform like this, being on your show, where the biggest thing is them knowing about me, right? I've only been in business for about 5 months, so I'm relatively new to the space. So the biggest thing is getting my name out there, the awareness, saying, hey, there is a minority-owned search firm out here, and they do have a committed interest in diversity and making sure black coaches and have opportunities and things like that. So it has been tough, but the more things radio shows I do and podcasts, or the 360, the GW 360 Coaches Clinic, I'll be participating in that tomorrow. That's another big forum for me where people will know, where you got Leonard Hamilton, Tubby Smith, all these big name coaches, then they'll be exposed to me during those type of things. So doing things like that will help in just connecting with the right people and being strategic, and connecting with the right people. And then, I think that'll pay, dividends for me down the road.
Wow.
And now, how do you have something?
No, I was just going to, you asked a question. We asked a question at the same time. He said we, and you said we. You got a partner in this venture?
Well, I say we because, it's a collective effort. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of coaches, especially, or administrators that I've talked with, they say, man, I'm so happy that you're starting this. You know what I mean? And I always say, I can't do it alone, right? There's so much work to be done. There's connections that I need, and I can't do it by myself, So I say we, number one, because I think it's going to be a collective effort, like you guys giving me this platform, you're part of that. I am going to bring on a consultant here in the near future, just to help me, with the more athletic administration, side of things. But as we grow, but no, I think, it is a we thing, because I can't do it myself. It's me right now, and I need the help of everybody.
And so now you launched it in February.
Mm-hmm.
And you were able to obtain some schools to take your service as a search firm already, right?
Correct.
So tell us, who was the first one and how did that transpire?
Yeah, so the first one was Lincoln University, the HBCU, right outside of Philadelphia. So I helped them with their men's basketball search. And so that athletic director, Harry Stinson, gave me a great opportunity and gave me, helped me to create my brand and get my name out there, because, you need one. You need that first one, someone to, take a chance on you, right? And, he gave me that. And it was a great process. I was able to meet and talk to a lot of people. And that's another way to get your name out is, I'm from that area, the Philly area. People were hearing that Herb Courtney's got the search at Lincoln. So, you get all these people calling me, and, it's just that word of mouth now. Now you got other people calling in saying, hey, Herb, I didn't know you were doing this, and I'm happy that you're doing it, and how can I help, type of thing. So that was a great benefit from that search. But, we worked together, and we identified a great coach that, I think that's going to move that program forward. And, Harry, Director Stinson, definitely gave me a great opportunity to work on that for him.
Well, relationships are important. What was the pre-existing relationship with you and Harry Stinson?
Yeah, so, I actually met Harry in January at the NCAA convention. It was in Anaheim, right? So MOA, which is an organization that's connected to NACDA, that's minorities focused. And so we met there, and, we just, the one thing, once you meet somebody in that setting, is the follow-up, right? So once you meet them, you have a good conversation, just following up with them, just establishing that relationship. The biggest thing for me is just being authentic, right? And, I am who I am. And if we vibe and we get along well, that we're going to work together well. I'm not going to be someone that I'm not. So we vibed and we stayed in touch. He made a coaching change. And, obviously I reached out to him, and usually HBCUs don't use search firms, just from a cost standpoint. And I just don't think search firms really go after that market. But, I saw a great opportunity. He's a younger AD, thinks outside the box, and he saw the value in it, especially during the COVID, where you can't really meet people and come face to face, especially you don't have a pre-existing relationship. And he thought, with my expertise, I could help him with that. And that's kind of how we kicked it off.
So now you did, when you met him in January, did you know you were going to start a search firm then, or did you just meet him and you were just piecing it all together and try to find your way?
Yeah, no, I knew I was going to start a search firm. It took me about, I would say it took me about 8-9 months to get it up and running, right? Where I was doing my research on the market, just doing some discovery questions with ADs and administrators and what's needed in the space, and how can a minority-owned firm, have a lane in college athletics and the value that it could provide. So it took me about 9 months to get up and running. I knew when I went to that convention in January that I was close to getting up and running. I knew about a month away, so I definitely wanted to make that event so I could start networking and start getting my name out there and making those connections. So, I told him what I was doing. He was excited about it, and I think he definitely wanted to be a part of the success of the company and giving me an opportunity to work on his search.
I got one for you, Coach. Coach, you being Herb, you being assistant coach, do you have a lane, or do you have a part of your business that will be devoted to helping assistant coaches get placement also?
Yeah, I think, once we really get up and running, the development piece is huge. That's what really gave me the idea to start a firm, right? Because I felt like, as an assistant coach, I needed an organization that had an interest in my future, right? That would spend time to help me connect, throughout the business. They have a lot of these, symposiums and things like that for a select few coaches, whether it's, like Next Chair, or before it's like the Villa 7, where they had this information and you can meet ADs and things like that. But I feel like that should be available to most coaches. You know what I mean? I don't think it should be a select few of 30 coaches that get that type of information, right? So, and that's the biggest thing as an assistant coach. You don't know what information you're lacking if you don't know. You know what I mean? So I wanted to create something, for coaches and administrators so they can help prepare themselves, advance their career, and give them that development. So when the opportunity does come, they'll have the knowledge to take advantage of that opportunity. And so the development piece for assistant coaches is definitely something that I want to do with this firm.
Jimmy, you got something else?
I mean, I like the concept, and I'm sitting there brainstorming on how to be able to get you up. But I guess, as you said, you got the first one out the way, which was Lincoln College, even though it's albeit a HBCU, it was in the budget, and that's not the important part. You got the experience of doing it the first time. So has there been a second or a third school?
Yeah, so I just wrapped up LaSalle University with Ashley Howard. He had an assistant coaching position, and so I helped him with that. And as a head coach, you just get inundated with a lot, right? When you have an open position, you probably get 500 calls from everybody, saying, hire this guy. So, I kind of help, take that off his plate. The biggest thing I think coaches need, or administrators or ADs, when they are hiring, is having just a sounding board, right? Like, if you tell me, 3 your top 3 things that you need in your next hire, you know, I'm here to kind of keep you in line with that, and making sure that what you told me and what's important to you, that, you know, I'm keeping you focused on that. So, you know, that's kind of what I did with Ash, and, you know, it was great. You know, we knew we had a previous relationship, but we didn't know each other like that. But after that process, you know, we definitely got closer, and just another advocate, you know, for what I'm doing and championing me, you know, with other opportunities and other people.
Coach, I know you're on the West Coast, right? You're on the West Coast.
Yes.
Are you in LA?
Yeah, I'm in Southern California.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
All of those colleges in California, I mean, and I know, and I might just be, I might jump the gun, but I know you're not just limiting yourself. The USC AD need to know who you are. I don't care. UCLA, especially with these problems, they got to figure out this thing with Under Armour. Hey, excellent opportunity to meet him. Cal, excellent opportunity. They're dealing with the same thing. If you can get those meetings, I know they're hard, but if you work don't just, and you probably haven't, I just don't want you to limit yourself. Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, you've been from the West Coast to the East Coast. You've coached on the East Coast, but you're living in the West Coast. So I just don't want you to limit yourself, because guess what? It's coaches. One of my friends is going through a coaching search for assistant coach right now, Penny Hardaway at Memphis. And I know what he is going through right now.
Yeah.
And if he had somebody like you to take that off of his plate, then maybe because I mean, thank God we have the, I mean, not thank God, but we in this time that you have a little bit more time in during the pandemic. But I see it, but I just don't want you to limit. I don't want you to limit yourself. And as soon as this COVID over, I'm gonna make sure that you know the Memphis AD and the Memphis president. And you know, that's my part. I can do that part. You know.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I got a little clout down there. So he clout down there. So that's just the things I do. But I just don't want you to limit yourself. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and to your point, you know, and for me, strategically, it makes more sense to go after the USCs, UCLA, the LMUs, right? Because they're right in my backyard.
Yeah.
And it's just creating those relationships. You know what I mean? Obviously, those ADs have relationships with other firms and things like that. So, and at their level, but you know, you have to, you know, add your value and things like that and create that. And, you know, that's what I'm working on. I know UCLA just hired, you know, a new AD in Martin. So, you know, I don't know him, but I know people who do. So eventually, hopefully we'll get connected and things like that. So, but to your point, you know, I agree. You have to be accessible and affordable to everybody, right? But you also have to go after, you know, the Power 5 level schools to help your brand and get out there, and then you can have the seat at the table and really help make some decisions.
And the reason I said that, Herb, is because these guys have friends. This AD might know this other AD. It might not be you, but like you said, you just building your network now.
Yes.
You follow me?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's all I wanted to add that to you. Jimmy, you got something?
Yeah, we got a quick break. We had to break, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had to break. It was so good, I didn't want to
go.
No, Jimmy, no. We're going, for her, we're going through the break. We're going through the break. Just ask the question. We're going through the break. Jimmy, this is, you got to realize this history.
Had to ran through all the stop signs and all this.
This is history. It's Black history. This ain't never happened to Herb. Guess what? Like I did the other day, Herb, I'll pay for these commercials right here. So don't even worry about it, Herb. This is the first time I've heard somebody sitting out there and establishing a firm. I know guys who hook people up, but you saying, look, I'm going to establish myself. Somebody, you said it somewhere inside of your inner self, you said somebody got to establish something like this. And it might as well be me.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the deals versus search firms for college coaches. How do you guys Do you pick the coach or do you narrow down the field and present the finalists to the athletic director or the president or whoever's making the decision?
Yeah. No, so for I think, the best way to do it, in my own opinion, is you need to have that conversation with the AD first, right? And as a coach, especially being in the business, I know already, or I have a good idea of who would be a good fit in what situation, right? So you're having that conversation with AD and say, what are you looking for? What do you need? What fits here at whatever school. And then, after, they tell you what they're looking for, then you bring, that list or your 2 or 3 guys that you think would be good for that job. I think if you do it the reverse, this is a partnership between the search firm and the institution and the AD, right? So, I think you have to have the approach where, you need to listen to them, see what they were looking for, what type of leadership style they want, how that CEO, like, Jamie in the day, like, obviously a rising star in the business, and you see why, right? And, he has a skill set, he portrays that CEO, that type of image. Some coaches want that, or ADs want that. Some ADs want something different. So it's finding that out and then bringing that, those couple of, coaches to the table after you listen to the client.
Okay. Now, also, so your deal of search firms, do you guys have a contract with the president, with the athletic director, or your deal with the head coach? How does that work with the search?
So the the client is the institution. So usually the point person will be the AD because they're hiring. The president usually will get involved, especially on the probably the last stage of the interview. So we'll go through they might meet the finalist, the last 2, the president, both get looped in, and then the AD and the president will consult to see which one is the best fit for that institution. But my client is the institution, right? And then, vice versa, on the coaching side, the coaches have the agents that kind of represent them. So, I don't represent coaches. Obviously, you got to, interact with them and you really need to know them, because you got to know who's going to fit what situation. But I don't represent the coaches.
The length of it. So if you work with a school one time, or do you try to tie it in and make a deal where they got to come back to you on the next opening, or is it a la carte? So for my model, I like a retainer model, right? So a retainer is, they'll hire me, for the year, and if they have athletic administration openings or coaching searches, I can help impact that for them. But in a lot of search firms will do that. But you can also it could be a contingent, agreement as well, where let's just say they just have a men's basketball opening or a women's basketball opening. I'm just going to impact that position. But, usually, if you do a really good job and you have a solid relationship with that AD, they're going to call you again, for that next search, because at the end of the day, if you play someone who is very successful, they want that same result, right? So they're not going to go away from you if you've done your job, done your due diligence, you were a great partner, and you were able to play someone that fit that institution. And great answers. And I'm asking you some questions just to getting the understanding, as the viewers are as well, of what goes and what entwines and encompasses within a search firm and how you guys operate. So that means if the objective is to get a year-long deal, right? That's the case. That's the market, like I'm saying, the normal among search firms. I'm quite sure you've done your homework and your studies amongst the others. You're the only Black-owned in the country for college coaches. Let's insert that in there so viewers will understand what this conversation, what is underneath this conversation, and what you up against.
Yeah.
So that means so most of the companies out there, do they have year-long annual deals with the clients, with the schools?
Yeah, I mean, some do. Some have a retainer model. I know a couple of them do. I know a couple of them, will just be contingent. You know what I mean? So they'll just use them just for their football or basketball searches. A lot of search firms might just concentrate on, just coaching, right? I do both. I think it's important because the diversity issue in college sports needs to be tackled on both sides. I think the higher you go up in leadership, the less diverse it is. So for me, I want to impact athletic administration and coaching, so that's why the retainer model makes more sense for my company, because, I want to impact all those positions, to create that change. Some of the bigger ones they might just want the coaching, side of it. And then sometimes they're in higher education as well. But for me personally, and I know there's a couple out there, they do like the retainer model.
So I'm looking at what you're doing, and I'm trying to like compare it to the model as far as relationships with a lot of, let's say, your first one was an HBCU, right?
Yeah.
And not many of the HBCUs think they can afford you.
Correct.
Is that saying that they can't afford you, or they think they can't afford you, but they really can if they listen and let you present your service to them?
Right. No, they can afford me because, like I said, it's important for them just to see what they want, and for me to what service I can provide. And my biggest thing, to really impact change, you just can't serve a select few. You just can't serve the Power 5 or the higher end universities. You got to be able to serve everybody. That's D1, 2, and 3. So those are all different price points and what they need and want. And every institution needs something different. You know what I mean, when it comes to diversity and things like that, and what's their plan. So my thing is, I come up with services tailored for that school and what they need. And I think we can be very competitive from a pricing standpoint on, yes, I am accessible, I am affordable, and I'm here to kind of serve all of college athletics.
So now, lastly, want to distinguish the difference, and there is a difference when you're going to search for a head coach. Wouldn't that process be a whole lot easier than searching for an assistant, than having the task of locating, identifying an assistant coach? Because the assistant coach in today's, after what has recently taken place among collegiate athletics with the scandals and stuff, a lot of the head coaches will be reluctant to bring up on a staff member whom he don't know.
Correct.
So how do you elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the trust is a big thing, and typically head coaches will hire people that they know or have some familiarity with. For me, with assistant coaches, obviously I've been an assistant coach. I know the game, and if a coach is saying, Herb, this is what I'm looking for, my thing to him or her would be, obviously you have your short list, but let's expand it by 1 or 2 more people and interview them, right? Go through that interview process with them, and you'll be shocked the fact that you will have some commonalities. You will, maybe they bring something totally different to the table. Maybe it's a different recruiting base. There's a lot of things that a coach will consider, especially if you bring the value to him or her that, hey, yeah, maybe this person would work and really be a good fit for my program. So I think it's always a risk when you hire. It's a risk when you hire someone because sometimes sometimes you're too comfortable, or you can't coach them or lead them the way you want to because you already have a pre-existing relationship. So I've seen that happen. So I think it's just articulating to them what that assistant coach can bring to the table and how they can impact your program. And if you lay that out and they interview well, I think they got a good shot.
But I mean, it's great. And we go to the Boom Boom Room, and that's how we're streaming live right now on Facebook and YouTube. And if you guys just joined into the Facebook conversation, feel free to share the show if you would. But Kerry asked, said, Herb, will you find coaches for all college? I know you touched on this earlier, but he just got in there. And will you find coaches for all college sports, basketball, football, etc.?
Yeah. So that's the plan. Right now I'm focused more on the basketball right now. But with that retainer model, let's say a school had a softball coach or things like that. I'll recruit on that for them. You know what I mean? So I have to be able to do that. And as my experience before I got into coaching, I was a corporate recruiter, for one of the biggest IT services firm in the country. So that really taught me how to look, how to search, and how to find that right fit. So eventually I want to impact all the sports and, bring that expertise to the table and helping schools identify that right coach.
And now lastly, your clients, do you go and just identify prospective coaches, or must they become a part of your pool that must be selected? Must they be a member, or how does that work?
No, I go out and I look for coaches, right? I already have that that knowledge being a coach of guys who are out there. I've only been removed from a year and a half, right? So I know who the up and comers are. I've been on the road. I've been at the Peach Jams and the Under Armour tournaments and all the high school gyms, and so I know a lot of these coaches, and my job is to continue to learn, to continue to build those relationships with coaches. So once the whole COVID thing, goes away, hopefully, sooner than later, when we can go back out on the road, I'm going to be at those events. I'm going to be looking at, who's doing their job and, who's out. You're always evaluating people. That's my job. I got to evaluate. I can't evaluate from my desk. I got to go out to these events. I got to meet people, talk to them, that word of mouth. So, that's how I, get those coaches in my database.
Man, I mean, that's a great concept, Herb, and we definitely rooting for you. I'm thinking it is, you're on the right track, and you're a trailblazer.
Yes.
And of such in your sector, and I'm just wondering, why not go and focus? You mentioned you can't do it on just big Power 5 schools alone, but why not go into that untapped territory, which you had attested to earlier in the conversation, that the HBCUs, those other guys, you're the only black in this industry, the only black-owned firm in the industry. So, correction. Those other firms ain't not studying about the HBCUs because the budgets and the checks won't be enough. Why not go and saturate and start and flood that market and let them know you exist in the HBCUs? And then go upward and outward from there. That way now you've conquered that. And what the folks said back in the old days, they would tabulate it to the Chitlin circuit. Why not go be the king of the? Guess what? Somebody has to do it, and that way now you'll make that mark, and nobody could ever take that from you. And then you will have an army of resume building institutions to support your experience. You see?
No,
and that's what I'm thinking about.
I agree. I think the HBCU market is a great market. One, because, you know, traditionally there has been a lot of turnover in HBCUs from ADs and coaches, you know, so I think really helping that institution identify the right coach or administrator is important. Also, I think, you know, from educational, you know, standpoint, you know, working with student athletes, you know, maybe doing workshops for resumes and things like that, so they're prepared when they're, you know, leaving, you know, college, and, you know, preparing them. I think everything's, you know, intertwined, you know, so to sense, from the student athlete to the administrator, coaches, you know, I think, you know, it's all part of the same process. So, you know, from an HBCU standpoint, I want to give those, you know, kids the resources and the information for them, you know, to be able to, you know, advance once the ball or whatever sport they're playing is done, that they can go out, get a job, and be successful.
Well, Herb, I mean, we wish you much success as you push through.
Thank you.
I was looking at your face and I say, man, I know this guy somewhere before.
Yeah.
I know. And I'm thinking our piece together. We met somewhere out there in one of them.
Yeah, man. We met at the Final Four in Phoenix at Coach Rav's party.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a
For
little
you to be inside of that room, that
you
means
was in
you've
that
already
room.
been validated
Yeah.
for you to be in that room. There we go.
Yeah.
And so that's and once again, you definitely got my support double now. And as a result
he
of that,
got
and
mine,
so
Jimmy. He had me. He had me. When he talking about my baby, when he talking about my son, I got it.
Yeah.
Man. Huh?
But not, he got you then. It could have been a trap, and you would have had Hannah on that one. But you got me.
Yeah.
When you answered the magic question in every conversation, I think I have what they call a magic question, not a trick question, magic question. Every conversation, you try to find a way to ask a magic question. The magic question for me is when I ask you, who is we? Your response to the who is we. Because your response could have been, oh, I got two Jewish guys and a white guy named Polikovich and this and that. Then that means now you're not a black-owned search firm. You are black that's heading this, that's running a search firm that's owned by somebody. So that's a different. That was my magic question.
Okay. That's good.
To you. So want to let you know that we definitely thank you, though. How can they get in contact with you or follow you for more information that a lot of the viewers may have?
Yeah, so on Twitter, I'm at CoachCourt15. That's my Twitter handle. And then I have a website. It's www.renaissance. So that's RENAISSANCE-consult.com. That's my website. And also I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn as well, and that's just my name, Herb Courtney. So yeah, on my website it has my phone number, emails on there. So all my contact information is on my website. Or you can just reach me on Twitter as well. So I'm very active on that.
Awesome, Coach.
Well, man, we thanks a bunch, Herb Courtney, man. This is his name, guys. Remember that name. Remember this name. Has all of the tools.
Coach, I got a secret for you before you go.
What's that?
I think it's 350 Division I coaches, right?
Yeah.
200 of them have been on this show. Maybe more.
Okay.
200 and something have been on this show. So you need to keep up with the Chop Shop also. Coach,
no doubt.
200 and some of them guys that been on this show. Jimmy had a running count. We stopped at 200 and something. So, so I'm just telling you, Coach. So this will be a good resource for you also. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like I said, once the whole COVID thing opens up, I'll travel a lot. So when I'm down in Houston, I'm stopping by.
Okay.
Let us know before you get to Houston. Now, don't wait till you get here.
All right. I'll give you a couple weeks
before
notice.
you get here.
So we might be
buy the rumor, sell the fact. So anyway, man, thanks,
Coach. I can't wait till I can get on a plane.
Yeah.
So that's hey man, great job, Herb, and we wish you much success, and make sure you spread the word about the Chop Shop to your basketball family out there. It's a small world. You never know who is watching. And also want to thank you guys. Hey, Yolanda Green just popped on toward the end.
Yolanda.
And shout out to Peggy Webster as well. Two of the ladies that just hopped on in the Boom Boom Room on the Facebook feed. Make sure you guys share the show. But thanks so much. But guess what, Coach? It's time to slide down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing for this. We got one hell of a conversation coming up on tomorrow. Women Rock Wednesday. And guess what? By popular demand. Remember those people from Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences?
Yes.
We got the college counselor and the principal, and they saying they're coming, quote unquote, to set some straight.
They didn't say that back word, did they?
And the don't mean shush. I'm just gonna tell you that much. So make sure you tune in on tomorrow. It's going down on the Chop Shop. And so but once again, on behalf of Robert Haller, guys, I'm Jim Hicks. Make sure you check out RCS Sports today. That's RCS Sports today, and get your daily dose of VIP news and a lot more around the greater Houston area. But until then, see you in 22 hours, guys. Peace. We up out of here.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop